Squat day is here, and with it, I'm going up in weight from the last time, as conservatively as I can. Still, I put up an extra 5 kilos on because 80 felt kinda easy in the previous high bar session, at least within the rep range that I have chosen. I wanna stay between 4 and 6 reps on these, possibly going down to as low as 3 if I feel like the progression is going a bit slowly. But because the main thing I personally need to focus on is rather not driving myself into the ground with intensity, and the rep range is itself somewhat narrow, it could be a good idea to have an optional buffer to use in times of need. And on that note, I should point out that another very important aspect of the progression that is going to be key for me is that I do need to use reps in reserve. Not as much when I'm approaching the top end of the rep range, otherwise it would just mean that the weight was too light, but as I'm going through it during the process. Very important, I have to remind myself of it often because I'm a stubborn goat. But yeah, that's really all I need to focus on. Squats were looking crisp, maybe a little heel popping on the very last rep of the second set, which I noticed straight away, and then it was time for the high pulls. Here I was going up in weight as well. 2.5 kilos is the smallest increment that I can put on there, and they didn't feel all too heavy, which cannot explain why technique was looking so-so on these sets. Should have kept the bar a little closer to the torso during the ascent, ended up feeling it a bit in the spinal erectors, which meant that the bar wasn't following the proper path. Also, I should really be starting from the floor because the arms coming out of the rack are not wide enough or not narrow enough. Basically, they are exactly where I should be placing my hands in order to get a good snatch grip. So another thing to keep in mind for the next time. And the last thing was back extensions. Oh yeah, I was also using an extra 2 kilos dumbbell on the hanging leg raises. They felt decent, and it had been ages since I've done those loaded. I will see how the progression goes on those. I'm not really fussed about that because the leverage, the arm length is so long that I don't know how they really scale. But back extensions, extra 25 kilos, nothing special to say really. They felt good, and while I'm not really a fan of describing the pump that an exercise gives because I couldn't care less, these are really engorging the glutes with blood. It's crazy. Hard to walk properly afterwards because there's no space to fully extend the hips. It's funny. Ciao.